So I get asked a lot, how do you prove a slip and fall case? Because people come up to me and say, hey, I fell at the supermarket, or, I was at my neighbor's house and I tripped in a hole. They're liable, right? Well, first off, in any negligence case, you got to prove that someone did something negligent. So a slip and fall at a supermarket, you got to show that there was a dangerous or hazardous condition at that supermarket. So let's just give an example of, there's a spilled egg or a cracked egg on the floor, and I'm walking and I slip and fall on the egg and I end up hurting myself. Well, with slip and fall now in Florida, you actually have to, as a plaintiff, prove not only was that foreign substance there or that defective condition there, that the owner of the business knew or should have known. And that's the tricky part about slip and fall cases or trip and fall cases, is that you have to show that they knew or should have known. And there's several different ways that can happen. One, let's just use the example of the supermarket, is if there was security video of, somebody had the eggs, they fell on the ground, and then you see that person talking to a manager pointing to the eggs saying, hey, I dropped those. That created the hazardous condition. If that manager then doesn't put up signs, doesn't immediately clean it up, or doesn't do anything further, that's how you can prove that they were negligent, that condition existed and they did nothing to remedy it. Okay? Now, let's use the example of, you're shopping in a grocery store, there's a person in front with a cart and they're pushing their child, getting things off the shelves, and the child just grabs an egg and throws it at the ground, and before anybody could do anything, you slipped and fell. Is the grocery store liable? Probably not. The grocery store would have to have noticed, one, that egg fell, and then that they had time to clean it up or remedy it or put a sign, and didn't do that. So in that second example, that might be a little bit more difficult. So that's one of the things that you have to prove, is that they had, knowledge of it or should have had knowledge of it. Grocery stores are a great example when you don't have video, but you can, someone slips and falls on a foreign substance on the ground, and they can, depending on what it is, you can see, if it's a pile of yogurt or something out there, is there dirt and debris in there? Does it look like it had been tracked through, other people have stepped on it? Those are indications that substance had been there for a while. If you have stuff like that, that's how you can prove, but it's got to be documented, right? So you got to, if you slipped and fell, obviously you want to take care of yourself, but you might also want to take a look at the condition, take out your phone, take a few pictures to show that defective condition, and how you might know if something's been on the ground for a long time. Now, earlier in this discussion, we were talking about, let's say you're just at your neighbor's house and you trip and fall in their yard. Again, they got to have noticed that there was a defective condition. Now, were their kids digging holes in the backyard and they decided to cover something up with it that you couldn't see? Then yes, there could be potential liability there. So just because you fall either at a public place or a private place doesn't mean that there's going to be a liability. There's got to be some form of defective condition, and there's got to be some sort of knowledge on the part of the owner to not remedy that. So what's the case worth? Well, that's when you have to prove what your damages are. So it's not enough that you just fall and injure yourself somewhere. You got to have damages as a result of it. It doesn't mean, you fall, someone writes you a check for $10,000. It doesn't work like that. If you fall, you got to prove your injuries. How do you prove your injuries? You got to go to a doctor. You got to get evaluated. Probably have to do some physical therapy. If you had surgery, if you had a break, you had a cast, something like that. If you lost time from work as a result of this, those are ways that you can prove the damages, and that helps determine the value of your case. Now, if you want to know more about slip and fall injuries or damages specifically, then download our guide, What's My Case Worth? It's available on our website, or you can give us a call and we'll send you a copy, and we're happy to help you out and evaluate your case.